Hey squad, what's going on? In this training video, I'm going to talk about two different benchmark workouts I did for my Hyrox training program leading into the North American Championships for Hyrox Chicago. So I'm going to talk about the different benchmark workouts and the exact splits in them, and then give you three workouts that I think gave me the most bang for my buck that led to the progress. So before we get into it, I want to remind you of the Reinforced Training Group. You can get 7 days for free to try things out. In the program, you're going to get 7 days a week of specific training for strength, running, OCR workouts, plus access to a training plan library where you can get things like 12-week Hyrox programming, 12 weeks of DecaFit programming, plus all the Spartan distances, whole bunch of stuff in there. Grab that link down in the comments below. All right, let's get into it. So let's jump right into the splits themselves from the benchmark workout. So this is basically a straight up Hyrox sim. You can see it right here. All it is the same exact stations that it would be in Hyrox with an 800-meter run done on a self-propelled curved treadmill like a true form. This one specifically was an assault runner. That makes things a little bit more difficult in terms of the pace and effort, and kind of equaled out to be about the same time of a time frame as a Hyrox, which I really didn't want. Unfortunately, that's just how it was. So once I did the first time, that's what I had to do the second time, just to get an apples to apples comparison. When you look at the highlighted differences here, what we're going to look at specifically is the first 4 stations and runs. My time, I was actually 5 seconds slower the second time through. Going through the second time, I wanted my pace, my effort to feel much easier than what it had the first time. And fortunately, the time wasn't that much different. So my effort felt way easier, and all the stations were almost exactly the same between the runs, the transitions, and the stations themselves, and ended up being 5 seconds slower. But after that is where the real changes occurred, was with the burpee broad jumps, where I was 1 minute and 26 seconds faster in my second attempt than in my first attempt. And then all the way through, my run was 19 seconds faster, my row was 12 seconds faster, my sixth run was 11 seconds faster, farmer's walk was 7 seconds faster. My run 7, I ran too far on the curved treadmill. I just brain lost it, and I think I ran 1/10 of a mile further than what I needed to do, so it actually ended up being much slower. But in reality, the pace was exactly the same as run 6. And then my lunges, 47 seconds faster, and my last run was 38 seconds faster, and wall balls were 32 seconds faster. So you can see I gained 1 minute and 40 seconds in the last 3 stations, the last 2 stations and the last run. So what this tells me is that my fitness has come a long way from the beginning of December to where it is currently with the second sim here. And so I want to talk about how it kind of led to that. Let's look at the total splits real fast. My run splits got a full minute faster with that longer effort on the second attempt. My stations were 3.5 minutes faster. Everything else remained about the same, but I was about 4 minutes faster from one attempt to the second attempt. And with these times here, in no way do I think this is the time I'll run in a Hyrox. No matter what your sim looks like, it's going to be different. The measurement's going to be different. The layout's different. The equipment's going to be different. It's never going to be the same crossing over. The only reason why I have it here is to do my comparison from my first sim to my second sim, and then this is just its own workout. It's not necessarily a Hyrox workout. So let's look at the workouts that I did that I think made the most bang for my buck. Let's start with strength. So on the strength, I did what is traditionally known as German volume training. I did this for about 3 weeks and started at 8x10 and then worked my way up to 10x10 for 4 different exercises. So this is one of the strength workouts. I did 2 each week with varying splits, different body parts, but this is the one where I thought moved the needle quite a bit, where I started at 8x10 with back squat and then 8x10 of bench press. So superset those, and then I went into 8x10 walking lunges and 8x10 GHD sit-ups, or toes to bar is what I typically would have done. This really helped build volume for things like the lunges, like the sleds, and just for the wall balls, really hardening things up. This would traditionally be more of a hypertrophy plan, like I had mentioned. So this is to pack on muscle, but without putting yourself in that surplus calorically. It just kind of builds a ton of volume, so you're able to be a little bit more fatigue resistant to this type of stimulus. So this was really demanding, and I wouldn't jump directly into this. Like I said, I would start at something like 6x10 and be working your way up. I started at 8 and ended up at 10x10 for about 3 weeks, and it really sucked. I was super sore. So I also put this kind of in the middle of the plan, like 6 and 8 weeks away from the race, because it's so damaging and demanding that if he was doing it like 3 to 4 weeks out from the training plan, it'd be hard to know if you're leaving results on the table because of how much it was taking to recover. So I would definitely throw in a lot. I would definitely keep this the same, throwing a lot of volume in back squat and of walking lunges. The second workout I want to take you through is the running workout that I did, the running progression that I did here. So what I did, I started with 3.5 minute intervals with 1 minute of rest, and I wanted it to be on hills. So this was mostly on treadmill because I don't have anything as long readily available to myself that would just be able to get a minute without having to run down. So treadmill just made it easier in terms of logistics, but it made it a damn grind. So what it was, it started at 8 by 3.5. I went 8, 10, 12, 14, and finishing at 14. This was the example of the 12 by 3.5 minutes at an effort that would feel kind of Hyroxy. This effort really feels faster than Hyrox effort, but the pace was slower. So the reason I did this is it's going to be a much more full body compromised style of running, just a more demanding style of running, putting it on a hill. Plus for me, my heart rate really can't get to the place where it does in a Hyrox on the road without it being really fast and really hard on my muscular system. So I kind of get to a certain pace. It's almost too fast for me to hold that heart rate where I need to be, and I end up getting fatigued in my body before fatigued in my aerobic system. So putting on a pitch higher makes it a little bit slower, makes it a little bit less damaging, but cranks that heart rate. So I worked that up to about 14, which is a lot. So I'd recommend somewhere in that, starting at 6, working your way up to 10, 12, 14, if you are able to sustain that volume. So this, I thought, was a great way to build my running strength. The final piece I want to show you is the workouts that I did specifically that were Hyrox oriented. So what I called these were just a sled and lunge tempo. And what I did, I would just do set a time frame. So this was the first one I did. So I did 60 minutes of 25-meter sled push, and then I ran 800 meters on the assault runner. Then I did 50 meters walking lunges. Then I did I did 800 on the assault runner as well, just because the time took so much longer. And I just did that back and forth for 60 minutes, just an AMRAP. And then as I started to go up, I added a little bit more time. I do 65 minutes, but then I would add 40 meters of sled push, and then I would do 75 meters of walking lunges. So I just really built up my volume, both in time and of volume on the actual stations themselves, to really build that up. And this effort was much slower than what my race Hyrox effort would have been. So the idea of this is just, again, amassing volume. So keeping the intensity down, volume comes higher. This was kind of the idea for every piece of the workouts that I did for those 3 weeks. And it yielded pretty solid results. And now moving forward, I want to keep that same idea of volume and aerobic capacity leading into the race, just building things out a little bit further. So drop me a comment below if you want to see more specifically what that looks like on the rest of the days and how this all kind of works together, because these are just ingredients to a full recipe. These 3 workouts I felt were the quality that really move the needle the furthest, but there's a lot of other elements involved, like longer runs, 2 long runs, a long run on the weekend, a middle long run, some really easy work, a lot of burpees here or there just to get used to that type of stuff. But these 3 ingredients I think would work really well for you. So again, drop me a comment if you want to see more of the training there, or if there's any specific workouts that you've done that you felt have moved the needle a lot for your Hyrox workouts, or any questions about this in terms of like what you need, what kind of volume to look for in your specific instance. So again, appreciate you guys popping on. Check out the Reinforced Training Group 7-day free trial down below. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.